Vanny is not Vanessa. Sort of. It's a bit complicated. The theory that Vanny and Vanessa are two different people is one that's been going around since Security Breach's release. But I feel like none of the theory videos on it have done it complete justice, so I wanted to give my best case for it in time for Ruin, and I think it holds up fairly well. Or it may turn out to be utterly ridiculous. You can be the judge of that. Let's start with the points you're likely already familiar with. First is Lost and Found. In this section of the game, Vanessa has caught Gregory, who goes unconscious for some reason and wakes up in Lost and Found. Vanessa then appears on a screen telling Gregory that he's in big trouble and for him to stay there until his parents or the police arrive. Vanny pops on screen immediately after.
Not the night to be wasting.
Your parents or the police arrive.
Vanny!
Are you having fun yet?
What? Does that mean that I don't know, they're separate people?
If they're the same person, how did Vanessa change into her Vanny suit in the span of 1 second? Obviously, that's not possible, which suggests that they're different people. A counter-argument to this is that the message could be pre-recorded by Vanessa, but this doesn't make a lot of sense. To begin with, there's nothing contextually that suggests it's pre-recorded. The fact that Vanny appears to be recording herself live right after Vanessa is done speaking would suggest that the whole thing is live. But let's say that Vanessa does record a message for Gregory. Why would Vanny choose to play it mere moments before she goes in there to kill Gregory herself? Even if Vanessa or Glitchtrap wants to wait until she can get into her Vanny suit to kill Gregory, or whatever she plans to do, why waste time recording the video? If Vanessa and Vanny are split personalities of the same person, with Vanessa having no memory of her Vanny side, you could justify this, but I'll explain later why that theory fails. If, however, Vanessa does have knowledge of her Vanny side and her plans, there's really no justification for this. But the VIP, or fire escape ending, I think is what first caused people to really question if Vanny and Vanessa are the same. In it, Gregory removes Vanny's mask to reveal Vanessa, like everyone expected. But what threw everyone for a spin was the post-credit shot of Vanessa in her security guard uniform looking down from the burning rooftop. Most people have rationalized this as just Vanessa's ghost appearing on the building. The most prominent explanation is that Vanessa's soul, or at least part of it, is still trapped in Princess Quest and therefore bound to the Pizzaplex, and that's what the ending is showing. The problem is that there's no visual indication that she's a ghost, which would have been very easy to add. Just make Vanessa slightly transparent, or grayscale, or some other effect. I don't think the game would show Vanessa exactly like it does real humans if we're intended to see her as a ghost, because that's a very ineffective way to get that across. Just watch other people's reactions. Everyone was confused when they initially saw it.
Let's go. What? Wait, no, that makes... She must have a twin sister.
Wait. How was she down on the ground and still on the burning roof at the same time?
What? Oh, what? The instant reaction to this is, oh my god, they're twins. Vanessa and Vanny are twins, they're not the same person, they're identical twins.
I find it hard to believe that Steelwool didn't foresee that people would interpret Vanessa as being real. As for the theory of Vanessa's soul, or at least part of it, being sealed away in Princess Quest so that her soul would still be tied to the Pizzaplex after her death, I'm a bit uncertain. In Help Wanted, we the player see Glitchtrap lock us behind, presumably, the safe room door. In Princess Quest 3, we beat the game by unlocking that door. What's odd is that unlocking this door doesn't just free Vanny from Glitchtrap's control, it effectively kills Glitchtrap entirely. There's an agonizing scream when we open the door, and all the staff bots with red eyes that surrounded us immediately power down. And then everyone goes and gets ice cream like everything is well. So if defeating Princess Quest gets rid of Glitchtrap, that leaves an interesting question. Was Vanny freed from Glitchtrap's control because he'd been vanquished, or did freeing Vanessa have the effect of killing Glitchtrap? Vanny being freed is the logical result of killing Glitchtrap, but why would opening the safe room door from Glitchtrap's side kill him? It makes the most sense that we'd be freeing Vanessa's mind from the safe room, but why would that vanquish Glitchtrap? Or do both things happen at the same time instead of one being a result of the other? It's all really confusing, and my only answer is, I don't know. But there's still the fact that Vanny has Vanessa's face, which can only have two explanations. The first is that one of them is a robot clone of the other. Now, this may be a hot take for a contemporary YouTube theory, but I don't think that's it. Especially since there's really nothing to suggest that either of them are robots. The second explanation seems much more likely. Vanessa and Vanny are identical twin sisters. At this point though, if you're FNAF lore savvy, you may have noticed a big flaw in my assertion that they're separate people. The retro CDs and FNAF AR emails pretty heavily spell out that Vanessa is Vanny. Both of them heavily imply that Glitchtrap is in her head, see all of Lewis's emails and the entirety of Vanessa's therapy sessions, and that she is the one making the Vanny costume. The AR email about the costume was technically scrapped, but the same information is repeated in one of the retro CDs.
On your breaks, it looks like you were shopping for a costume. You purchased some fake fur material. What are you gonna make?
It's pretty clear. Vanessa is Vanny, and Vanny is Vanessa. So am I admitting defeat? Not quite. Remember how I said Vanny is only sort of not Vanessa? What if I told you there were two Vanessas? Sort of. Okay, so we have Vanny, whose name is Vanessa, and is the person from the retro CDs and AR emails. This is the real Vanessa, but the Vanessa we see in-game, the security guard, her real name isn't Vanessa. I know this sounds kind of bizarre. What do you mean the character called Vanessa isn't actually Vanessa? But just stick with me here. After Vanessa, the real one, fell prey to Glitchtrap, she needed to become the head security guard of the Pizzaplex. Being head of security would give her access to anywhere in the Pizzaplex, so she can fulfill all of Glitchtrap's orders for her in the building, and below the building for that matter. But as head of security, she still has a job to do that would distract her from her work with the Glitchtrap. So she turns to her twin sister and convinces her, somehow, to help her. Vanessa's twin sister would be the one doing all of the security guard duties, while Vanny is free to do whatever she needs to do, unhindered. And as the sole security guard, her twin sister could help keep Vanessa's activities a secret. So her twin sister takes on the identity of Vanessa and performs her job as security officer, pretending to be her. So to recap, there are two quote-unquote Vanessas, one real and one fake. One whose real name is Vanessa, that's Vanny, and one whose real name isn't, but is only impersonating Vanessa, that's Officer Vanessa. The rest of the evidence for this theory mainly resides in proving why Officer Vanessa and Vanny cannot be the same person. So there are two basic interpretations of them being the same person. The first is that Officer Vanessa and Vanny are two distinct personalities who are unaware of each other. Or at the very least, Vanessa doesn't know about Vanny in Glitchtrap. This theory holds that Vanessa is actually a good guy who is legitimately trying to help Gregory. It's just that Glitchtrap intermittently takes control of Vanessa, bringing out Vanny. And when Vanessa becomes herself again, she has no memory of what happened. However, there are some problems with this. It's shown multiple times in the game that Vanessa does not have Gregory's best interest in mind. From the beginning of the game, Gregory knows not to trust Vanessa, even though he doesn't quite know who she is.
That is the security guard. She can help.
No, I don't trust her.
Why not?
I don't know who she is, but she's trying to get me.
There was an original version of this line, before the dialogue was seemingly scrubbed clean of any mention of violence or injuries, which was found in the files as an unused subtitle, where Gregory says, "I don't know who she is, but she's gonna kill me." So Gregory seems to think he's in real danger from Vanessa. But if Officer Vanessa is the good side of her supposed split personality, this doesn't make sense. She shouldn't have done anything bad or suspicious that would make Gregory fear her. And it can't have been Gregory connecting something Vanny did to Officer Vanessa. Seemingly, the first time he ever comes across Vanny is outside the daycare with Freddy. And Gregory never made the connection between Vanny and Vanessa until the fire escape ending anyway. So he'd have no reason to hide from Officer Vanessa, especially since, allegedly, she's trying to help him leave. Later in Lost and Found, Officer Vanessa tells us this.
So, you are going to wait right there in Lost and Found until your parents or the police arrive.
Her mention of Gregory's parents and the police are important, because the game goes on to show us that Vanessa never intended for either of them to pick him up. See, there's a room in the lobby across from Lost and Found which becomes accessible for the first time after this. Inside is a message titled False Alarm, which curiously is the same name as an achievement you earn by completing the most recent office section. The message reads, "Security report. A local officer came by tonight. He said he was responding to an emergency call from someone inside the Pizzaplex. There is no way that is possible. I was the only one here, and I certainly didn't make any outside calls. He wanted to look around, but I sent him away. Just another prank call. Vanessa. It's unclear what night this is from, but the important takeaway is that right after Vanessa implied that she'd contacted the police, we're shown an instance where Vanessa sent away a police officer. What this shows is that Officer Vanessa never intended to call the police or let them inside. As for Gregory's parents, we learn later from Freddy and Vanessa's conversation in Parts and Service that Vanessa had known she couldn't contact his parents.
That is great news. He can be returned to his parents.
He can't. Turns out, there's no record of him.
This, combined with the message about the police officer, seems very intentional to reveal something to us. She lied in Lost and Found. She didn't intend for either of them to pick up Gregory. She locked him in Lost and Found with no intention of letting him out. This tells us that Officer Vanessa is complicit with Vanny. Why else would she lock him up indefinitely and lie about someone coming to get him, something that would hopefully encourage him to stay put, conveniently right before Vanny arrives? The reason is that she locked Gregory in here specifically for Vanny, because both are in on the same goals. Vanessa also attempts to lure us to the main stage as 6 a.m. is approaching, with nothing waiting for us there, except maybe a jump scare from Moon for having wasted our precious time needed to escape. Even the tone she uses sounds suspicious.
Gregory, I think you deserve a reward. Go check the main stage.
The only reason why Officer Vanessa would lure us to the stage if nothing awaited us there is if she's trying to waste our time so that Moon can get us before we reach the doors, which is definitely not trying to help us. But it's not just that Officer Vanessa acts sinisterly. The retro CDs make it impossible for the amnesia theory to work. Throughout her therapy sessions, Vanessa doesn't switch around who she is or how she acts. She has one consistent personality who is aware of not just her personal life, but also of Glitchtrap, his orders, the Vanny costume, and Patient 46, aka Gregory. This would mean that she'd just happen to be in her Vanny personality in every therapy session and never her good Vanessa side. Except this can't work because in the CDs, Vanessa says,
He said he would always be watching. He could be here, or there, or anywhere in between. I compartmentalized him. He's locked away.
Both of these strongly suggest that Glitchtrap is not currently controlling her. So that rules out the idea that she could be in her Vanny personality during these therapy sessions. The split personality theory cannot explain the CDs. So that was quite a lot of time spent debunking what I'm pretty sure isn't even that prominent of a theory at this point. What I've seen most people decide on is the other option. Vanny and Vanessa share, essentially, the same personality. Even though she turns into Vanny whenever Glitchtrap seizes control of her, Vanessa is at all times aware of her other side and of Glitchtrap. Even when she isn't Vanny, she still tries to carry out his will. But here's my counter-argument. We know from the Tales from the Pizzaplex story, GGY, that Gregory is Patient 46 in the retro CDs. This is important because the CDs also strongly imply that Vanessa and Patient 46 have been contacting one another and even met in person on at least one occasion. The CDs mention that Vanessa is having an encrypted conversation with a mysterious person who seems to be manipulating her.
But a routine check of your online history has revealed that you've spent quite a bit of time with someone in an encrypted conversation. What bothers me about what I read is that the messages you're getting seem very manipulative in nature. This person who's been sending you messages has been hacking into your personal files too.
And then, in later CDs, it's revealed that Patient 46, Gregory, has also been having an encrypted conversation with someone.
I saw in your file that you have developed software programs that talk to you in repeat phrases, right? When I saw some of your recent encrypted conversation logs, that's what I thought I was looking at. But the text found something that's different than that. When I study this, it sounds like there is someone else responding to you.
Not only this, but it stated that Gregory was manipulating the person he was messaging, which fits perfectly together with the fact that Vanessa was being manipulated by the person she was messaging.
Apparently, the texts were reviewing communications going in and out of this building. They say you were in communication with someone. Or maybe something. The texts say it looked to them like it was an attempt to manipulate you, or maybe to lure you somewhere. The thing is, when I read the communications, I get something different out of them. I don't think you're being manipulated here. I think you're the one doing the manipulating.
Also consider that the person Vanessa was talking to was hacking her files, and that is demonstrated by the CDs and GGY, Gregory is also a hacker. It's very clear that Vanessa and Gregory were in contact with each other. What's more is that immediately following the previous clip, the therapy says this.
No comment? Huh? Then how about this? I have this still shot the techs pulled from the security footage that recorded you in the Pizzaplex. That's you, isn't it? I know this image is distorted, but I think it looks like you. And you're not alone here. You're talking to someone. Or something. It's hard to tell. What are those things? They almost look like rabbit ears.
Common sense tells us that Vanny is the one Gregory is talking to in this photo. Some people have suggested that it could be Glamrock Bonnie, but this would be coming out of nowhere. Since everything else in the CDs has been about Gregory and Vanessa, I'm much more inclined to believe that it's Vanny. Now, why is all of this important? Because it demonstrates that Vanessa, at least the Vanessa in therapy, knows who Gregory is and has even met him face to face, which would make it very odd then that she doesn't seem to know who Gregory is in Security Breach. Throughout the game and all of Vanessa's dialogue, nothing indicates that she knows or recognizes Gregory. For instance, she initially just calls him some kid when speaking to Freddy.
Look, we're like 15 minutes from closing and some kid is sneaking around backstage.
And she didn't even know his name before Lost and Found.
His name is Gregory. You know how I know that? His Fazwatch kept repeating it in your voice. Gregory, are you there? Gregory?
Now, of course, Gregory doesn't recognize Vanessa or Vanny, but he's had an obvious mind wipe somewhere in between. I find it pretty unlikely that the same thing would have happened to Vanessa/Vanny, since she's stayed Vanny and is still following Glitchtrap, unlike Gregory, who was implied to be under his control in GGY, but no longer is. This is a problem for the theory of Vanessa and Vanny being the same, because Vanessa should know who Gregory is. But if Officer Vanessa is actually a separate person from the real Vanessa in the retro CDs, this all makes perfect sense. Unlike the real Vanessa, Vanessa's twin sister very well might have never met Gregory. Instead, only Vanny might have interacted with Gregory personally. Now, before I address some other objections to there being two Vanessas, I want to briefly touch on the VR sisters from Fury's Rage. Yeah, them. I don't think it's a very big point for this theory, or even that strong of one, but since it's commonly used as evidence, I'm going to give my best case for it. So, every other enemy or boss in Fury's Rage is some variation of a character that already exists, many of them being special delivery skins, besides Dreamgeist, the final hard mode boss, but he's a whole different beast. For the VR sisters, however, there isn't really anything in the previous games that you can derive them from. People have noted that the VR sisters do share similarities to the Arcade Mayhem skins from FNAF AR. They have VR goggles like VR Toy Freddy, beaks like High Score Toy Chica, and a similar neon color palette. So they could just be a reference to those animatronics. But the other enemies all have clear references to specific characters. The VR sisters aren't based on either VR Toy Freddy or High Score Toy Chica, but instead would have to be based on both of them, with the two Arcade Mayhem skins meshed into one, but then duplicated back out into two characters. This doesn't explain the sisters part, because no sisters have ever been mentioned in any FNAF game. Even though their design was likely influenced by Arcade Mayhem, I think it's quite possible that the VR sisters were foreshadowing the existence of two sisters in the games, and Vanessa, as you recall, is also associated with VR. But yeah, I'm not gonna die on this hill defending the significance of the VR sisters, since it's, in my opinion, a bit shakier than the other points. Now, to be as fair as possible, I want to bring up a couple objections to the theory, and then give my best response to them. I've already talked about Princess Quest and the idea that Vanessa's soul is tied to the Pizzaplex, which admittedly holds some ground. Something a lot of people will point to is the game files, because they contain some interesting stuff. What might not surprise you is that the Glamrock animatronics have two states, a normal and a shattered state. But interestingly, Vanessa also has a shattered state, Vanny. Vanny is actually called Shattered Vanessa in some of the code. Additionally, in an unfinished survival mode, whenever the Vanny meter is filled, Vanessa literally turns into Vanny. Though of course you're obviously not meant to see that happening. From what I understand, if the shattered state of a character is turned on, that character can only appear as shattered. So the normal version and the shattered version can't ever simultaneously exist on the map. hence why turning on Vanessa's shattered state turns her into Vanny. It's likely a function that was utilized for Vanny and Vanessa so that it wouldn't be possible for them to appear at the same time. Even though this seems to support Vanny and Vanessa being the same person, if Vanny and Officer Vanessa are separate people, Steel Wool would still want to maintain the mystery. So either way, they wouldn't have wanted both of them appearing at the same time, and this could have been a practical way to use an already created function for the Glamrocks to achieve this. We should be looking at what we're presented with in the game rather than the technical aspects of it that we aren't intended to see, because we have no idea what the process of development was like, and can't conclude if the intentions behind a technical decision were more than just technical. Some might also point to the good ending, in which, after freeing Vanny, Vanessa shows up to take Gregory out of the Pizzaplex, and then eats ice cream with him on a hill. I don't have much to say about this, other than to notice how Vanessa is wearing a purple jacket rather than the uniform Officer Vanessa wears, although arguably you could say that's worn over the uniform, which I don't know might be the case. Alternatively, it could just be Officer Vanessa, and the Vanny Vanessa just went someplace else, I don't know. Finally, what a lot of people say about this theory is that it's just needlessly complicated, especially since the game is very obvious with its implications that Vanessa is Vanny. You know, the whole Vanny is similar to Vanessa and Bunny, that cannot be a coincidence. I think the fact that it is so heavy-handed, though, makes it even more suspicious. Everything about Security Breach has turned out to be pretty convoluted. The game at first seems like it's telling the story of a random kid who got trapped in the Pizzaplex in his attempt to survive killer animatronics and a murderer in a rabbit suit, and kind Glamrock Freddy has decided to help us. But, thanks to GGY, it turns out that Gregory is anything but a random innocent kid because he's actually a phenom at hacking and has hacked into the animatronics to make them do his bidding, has been in cahoots with Vanny, and has also murdered at least 6 people with Glamrock Freddy as his accomplice, with the reason that Freddy helps him in Security Breach being Freddy's programmed disposition to help Gregory, and the reason Freddy is not affected by Glitch Trap being that he glitches out after seeing Gregory in the concert in Reboot and Safe Mode. Burn Trap just seems like another incarnation of Springtrap that survived Pizzeria Simulator, but no, it's actually a self-learning AI created by a Fazbear Entertainment engineer in the 1980s or 70s that is now mimicking Afton and has probably just dressed itself up to look like Springtrap. I'm not getting into Proving Tales games. My point being, the game's lore is convoluted. Almost nothing in the game is what it first seems. That's not a point against the theory. And with that, I'm finished. This video turned out to be a bit longer than I expected, but I feel pretty good about this theory. Although it may very well turn out that everything I brought up is just the result of very crappy and uneven storytelling, like the rest of Security Breach. But at least we won't have to wait long to find out, with Ruin releasing sometime this month. Please like the video if you liked it, and let me know in the comments how deranged I am. I plan on making more theories in the future that aren't as off the wall as a modern game theory episode, no promises though, so subscribe if you want to see that. Anyway, bye.